What is going on, everyone? It is another episode of the Bagels E-Locks podcast. I am David Tretzky, Harambe Covers, and this is my man, Dan Sands, the Parlay Lawyer. What's going on, Dan?
I'm excited. We got NBA playoffs.
Thus the garb.
Cue the round ball rock music. NBA on NBC. I'm so pumped. That's why I'm not a Miami Heat fan.
I was shocked you wore that.
You know what? I had the jersey. They're playing tonight, they're playing tomorrow, actually. But they're playing in this play-in tournament. This is their season. Heat culture.
Well, you're rooting for it, so then the Knicks come here.
Exactly.
But before we get to the NBA, just want to touch on a couple things. Masters just finished. Hope you all did our bet that we took live on the last podcast, the Tiger Woods to make the cut.
Yeah. And wow, what a showing for the first 2 days. Then he goes ahead and really just blows up. But we got some Tiger excitement. He made the cut. We made money. And it was our bet that we placed right here. And I think we'll make another bet today, but we'll figure out what it is. I got some NBA locks. I'm super locked into the NBA.
All right.
And I'm excited about it.
Awesome. So let's start tonight.
Yeah. So play-in format is exciting, I think. It's new, somewhat new, a couple years now. Mm-hmm. But it's almost like single elimination, very similar to March Madness. Right. But we got, so we have the two top seeds get to play. If they win, they're into the playoffs. The loser gets to play another game, the winner of the two lower seeds. And tonight we have the Western Conference. Okay. We'll start with that. Let's start with the first game. We got Lakers. We got Pelicans. It's exciting.
It is, and surprising just to see, LeBron in a play-in game, Mm-hmm. I know a few years back he didn't even make the playoffs.
Well, they won the in-season tournament.
Wow. What do you get for that?
I don't know. But you get a trophy. Cool. He played on cool courts. No, but I think this is an interesting matchup. The Pelicans have been very good this year. Zion Williamson, where people kind of wrote him off after his sexcapades, he's really come and played very well. So you have this young, upstart team, Zion Williamson, Brandon Ingram, you going against the vets, the former champions. It hasn't been so long ago that LeBron and Anthony Davis won a championship. They're playing. The line is only 1.5. People obviously are thinking, I think, the Lakers have this. But it's interesting. Do they even want to win? Because if they win, they got to play the Nuggets, which you're wearing.
Yeah. The
last year's champion, powerhouse team.
Sleepy.
Or do they play the Thunder, who sneaked into that first seed? So if they lose, then they play the winner of 9 and 10, and they get to play the Thunder. Do you think that the Lakers would even, try to lose this game? LeBron would never do that, right? Or would
Right. So in theory, that whole ideology makes perfect sense. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't want to play the Nuggets. I'd much rather play the Thunder. Younger, more they're just inexperienced. But that being said, because it is March Madness style, how many times we talked about it in March Madness, these crazy upsets, you don't want to
risk it.
Yeah, it's way too much stress. Yeah. If it was a 3-game series, okay. Because then LeBron and family can just say, all right, boys, let's do this thing. We're going to lock down. We're going to play, right? So I don't think they purposefully lose, but either way, I like the Pelicans tonight. I really do like the Pelicans. The over-under was at 226, and it dropped all the way down to
224.
Yeah.
And I like the under.
Right.
Still like the under.
Agree.
So if you just looked at the two teams in the regular season, I think it's obviously the Pelicans have been a better team this year. And they had this stretch when Brandon Ingram was out that they were winning every game. They were looking like a really great team. They kind of faded back a little bit at the end of the season, but I can't see myself betting against LeBron James in a play-in game, just like with the in-season tournament, when there's something on the line for him to cement his legacy, he always comes to play. I can't bet against LeBron, but I also can't bet the Lakers because the Pelicans are the better team, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. So I agree with you. I see that under bet, and I like it because what I do think is going to happen is that you have this young team in the playoffs, a lot of pressure on, lights on, and they're going to struggle to score. I think baskets will be at a premium. I like the under. I thought it was set way too high with those two teams. I have bet the under tonight. I like the under. I could see the Lakers winning. That's actually what my gut says, and it's not based on do I think the Lakers are a better team. I just think LeBron will come to play. He's been there. Playoffs are a different atmosphere. I remember last year when the Knicks played the Cavaliers, and everyone said that the Cavs were the better team, and the Cavs were so confident, but they learned really quick, that young team, what it's like at MSG, what it's like during playoff atmosphere. So I'm not betting the winner of this game. I'm excited to see who the winner is, but I like that under bet.
And even looking forward, do the Lakers, if they even get through the Nuggets, then they're looking like they're playing the Timberwolves.
Pelicans. You're saying if they get through the Nuggets in the next round. They're not getting through the Nuggets.
Well, but I'm just saying.
That's like, a discussion for another day if they even get there. But the Nuggets are just so much better.
I think the Nuggets come out of the West, personally, but that's just...
Well, that remains to be seen. I probably agree with that.
Yeah. But the other game tonight, we got Sacramento and Golden State. Another shocker that Golden State, it's just funny to see how the mighty have fallen.
Right.
You know, LeBron was running the West with the Warriors out there also running the West. And yeah, granted the Nuggets won, but it's just interesting that these two powerhouse franchises, the Lakers and the Warriors, are now in playing games.
Well, they're old, these guys. Like Steph Curry, LeBron, this is the twilight. LeBron especially. You know, he's in that Tom Brady era.
Right.
Where he's still performing.
He's hanging on for
and
Bronny.
He's still there, but they're just like, when is it over?
Right.
We're seeing the last days of it. With the Warriors, they just have been a weird team all year. You saw Klay Thompson all of a sudden just turn into a mediocre player after being an all-star for so many years. Then he went to the bench. Then he was playing better. Kuminga's hurt. De'Aaron Fox has destroyed the Warriors this year, and that's my bet of the night. I think De'Aaron Fox over points.
You're telling me to take it?
I think you should take it right now. I don't know what the line has moved to since I placed it this morning. I think it was 30.5 this morning.
Okay. I'll take a
But
gamble.
I like De'Aaron Fox over points. I think he has whether they win or lose, he's going to have a huge game.
29.5?
29.5.
That's a lot.
It's a lot, but he's going to score at least 30.
Really?
Yes.
All right. I'll dabble for you. I'll do it for the cause.
Yeah. And the Warriors, they're going to have a little bit. We might see Kevin Looney tonight as like the starter. Draymond Green sat out the last game. He's going to play, is my understanding. But Kuminga, I think, is not. They're going to have to roll out a weird lineup here.
Kuminga's points under is very favorited, probably because
he's not playing.
Yeah. Well, I guess.
Maybe he's not playing. Maybe he is playing.
Yeah.
But he's been banged up. Warriors are a bit banged up. Curry, I expect to have a good game. And I think I could see the Warriors winning this game. But I think there's going to be a lot of points scored.
So this is 223.
And now I'm taking the over in this game
there
as
you
well.
go, yeah.
That's another best bet of the night, over in that game.
So you like under Pelicans game, over
Yeah,
Kings game.
That's it.
Interesting.
That's my two game picks. And then there's certain props I like. I like De'Aaron Fox over points. I like Sabonis over rebounds. His line, I believe, is at 13.5. He's averaging 13.7.
Okay.
So on the season, there's no reason to believe he's not going to be playing most of the minutes of this game. I think he gets a bunch of rebounds, especially with an undersized Warriors team that will go small very
12.5.
12.5. Take that over.
I'm taking it right now.
You got a better line than I got.
Look, everybody. Look, you just follow us.
Yeah.
No, but it is. I like Sacramento's just been so irrelevant for the longest time, and it's just nice to see them there. Funny De'Aaron Fox story. My brother was there, actually. We went to a Nuggets game when I lived in Denver, and I got to go on the court for the anthem. And I was wearing some like off-white Blazer kicks, and he's like dribbling, doing warm-ups. This is like young De'Aaron Fox. And
young Harambe covered.
Yes. And young, dumb, and full of fun, right? Yeah, hey, you're good. We're good. But no, he's dribbling, and he sees my shoes, and he loses his dribble, and like we make eye contact and he just smiles. He complimented me on my shoes actually.
You stunned him.
I can stop De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah, there you go. Just so Steph Curry, hope he's bringing those really dope Under Armour kicks tonight.
That's fun. And then now, and let's preview the East. So we got some playing games there tomorrow night. I know you're going to be watching very, very closely to this matchup because your Knicks, it matters for them. Now, it's Sixers Heat.
We really got unlucky because
this is very bad.
Those are two great teams
coming in.
Yeah,
hot. You know, they're the Sixers obviously didn't have Embiid, thus they fell. They dropped. Embiid's back. They're starting to win games. Excuse me, especially against some good teams. You don't want to see them.
I don't want to see them as the Knicks, but this is a really interesting matchup because the Heat have really struggled to score the basketball, but both teams, I believe, the last 15 games are number 1 and number 2 in defense. I think it's going to be a tough battle. Baskets will be at a premium, which is why I'd rather be the Sixers having Embiid. The Heat, I believe Terry Rozier might not play, Duncan Robinson, guys they really need to score the ball. So we'll see who plays for the Heat. But, this is the time of year that the Heat and Heat culture, they just win. Even last year when they made it all the way to the finals,
true.
They were struggling at the end of the year. Nobody saw them making it all the way. They did it. Something about Eric Spoelstra, Pat Riley, that culture there, they lock it in the playoffs. So the Sixers are a better team, right? Because the Sixers shouldn't even been in the play-in tournament. It was because of this Embiid injury.
Right.
And they held on. They still won almost 50 games. I think they won 46 games. So I expect the Sixers to win, and I guess I'll have to fly up to Philly and see our friend Kuz. But I'm hoping the Heat win because that would be so nice. I could go to every game, just drive quickly down to Miami and see that. If I'm a Knicks fan, which I am, it's either team I'm worried about. I think we really got unlucky. We should have been playing the Pacers or someone like that. It was that Embiid injury that caused this sort of kerfuffle in the play-in tournament. But that is the prime time, most interesting matchup because you have the Sixers who, if I'm Boston, I'm also worried that whatever team loses here is playing in that next game.
Yeah.
And then wins. And besides the Knicks, I guess, who finished second and have played well against the Celtics all year, if I'm a Celtics fan, I'm worried about these two teams. Heat had their number last year with Gabe Vincent and Caleb Martin, right? No-namers. And then if it's the Sixers, you're going against Embiid, they're going to see a real challenge. And wouldn't that be something this team, the Celtics that beat everyone out by 14 games, loses in their first round matchup?
Kind of reminds me of the Boston Bruins against the Panthers. They won the President's Cup, same thing. They're breaking records, winning all that, and then first round, they just run into a hot team and they get bounced.
Yeah.
The luckiest team in the East, I'd say, is probably this Cavaliers Magic because they're just going to play each other. They're just
and on NBA TV or whatever because no one's going to be watching that series.
That series is just boring, but they're Boston. It's sad. It's unfortunate, like you were saying. The 1 and 2 seed are sweating. Meanwhile, the 4 and 5 and the 3 and 6 are just
easier
hanging out because the Sixers and the Heat, I would say, it doesn't matter in the Bulls, Hawks, they're getting bounced by
another very not interesting matchup.
Yeah.
But Bulls, Hawks, I think everyone thinks whoever wins that Sixers Heat should win the next game. But you never know. I mean, if the Heat come out, so if the Sixers dominate the Heat because they're just the better talented team and that whole idea of Heat culture and playoffs and they're so good doesn't happen, I could see them losing just 2 games in a row, right? Just because they're outmatched in terms of talent. The Hawks and the Bulls aren't good either, but
they play the Heat pretty well.
And the Bulls lately have been playing very tough. And there was an interesting split that I saw that was Desamu on the Bulls against the Hawks. just like dominates. He scores over 20 points a game. There's something about the matchups there. So that's, if you're thinking about betting, I like the Bulls against the Hawks. But yeah, the East is really interesting, especially because besides the Celtics, the Bucks, who everybody thought with Giannis and Dame would be just this like powerhouse team, Giannis is really hurt. And, you know, they're being a little quiet about it. But look, if he can't play, if it's just Dame, then the Bucks aren't really a scary team at all.
Well, the Pacers I think, are very fortunate right now.
Yeah, and especially if Halliburton just goes off, right? Like, he has that ability to just dominate games when his shot's hitting. You know he's going to be there with the 10 assists, 15 assists. Like, he's a great passer. And if other people are scoring, which they have been on that team, you know, it works and they'll win games. But if Halliburton is like just shooting threes and making them and having that ability to pass, they're a tough team.
Yeah. Now, so let's just do like a little prediction here, right? Let's say Sixers beat the Heat. Knicks, Sixers. I know you're taking the Knicks.
I'm nervous, but I believe that this Knicks team, the team they will lose to, in my opinion, is Boston. Like, I think that they, you know, Tom Thibodeau, which is, you know, kind of hilarious. We like playing to his stereotype. He played all the Knicks players in a game where it, like, for seeding, a lot of people said, oh, the Knicks should drop back to 3. That would be the better place, like we just talked about.
Right.
But Tom Thibodeau's not going to do that. Tom Thibodeau played his guys all 40 minutes against the Bulls, got to 50 wins, got the second seed. I do think that home court advantage for the Knicks is huge because Madison Square Garden, there's nothing like it. They're behind this Knicks team. They're behind Jalen Brunson, who is the most popular Knick since Patrick Ewing, and it's not even close. I'd like to bring up why he's not on the.
I was gonna say that's why I'm giggling.
Version of the Dream Team. And we'll go through it in a second.
Yep.
But I think that the Knicks will lose to the Celtics. I think Celtics are a better team, and if we had Randall, it might have been different. But it's amazing what the Knicks accomplished this year, and I expect them to continue to beat teams. I think that Sixers matchup will be great. I do like the Knicks, but the Sixers are a good team with Embiid, a perennial MVP, healthy. You know, they're a tough team. They're really good. So Maxey and him.
If the Knicks don't, which I'm pulling for you, you know, I really just want you to.
I just want
seeing the Knicks win. And like, I'm from Philly, and I don't really like New York teams, but I do get joy out of seeing the Knicks win. Just the joy that this man.
We can have nice things like one time.
So if it's not the Knicks, which I'm hoping for you, you like Boston out of the East.
I like Boston right now.
And out of the West?
Out of the West, probably the Nuggets. Okay. I do really like the Thunder. They're just like, they're so young, which I know makes Josh Giddey happy, but they're so young.
Wow.
And you know, they have so many interesting pieces. Jalen Williams, SGA, your son is named after him.
Yeah, named after him. It's exactly why I named him Shy. Yeah.
Excuse me. And yeah, no, but I the West is not, to me, is not as exciting. I think, well, excuse me.
The sneezes are for good luck.
Talking about the Knicks is making me sneeze. No, but I think that the Celtics are just like a powerhouse. I think they're like UConn in March Madness. They're so good, but you know, they just have all those pieces. Jaylen Brown, Tatum.
Tatum is so good.
Even Drew Holiday, who should not be on Team USA.
We'll get there.
It should be Jalen Brunson. But he's so good defensively. Then Kristaps Porzingis, my mighty unicorn who I once loved as a New York Knick, he's finally found his right spot and like right place of being this ancillary third, fourth option, make threes, get inside, be 7 feet tall, and not have so much pressure on him to be that like elite scorer. And it's working out well. That's a good team. Even like Peyton Pritchard, I love that like little guy. Backup point guard, he's good too.
So also in the West,
Hauser.
Hauser. Don't ever bet against Hauser.
Yeah,
never bet against. But in the 4-5 matchup in the West, you got the Clippers and the Mavs. I like it, just star-studded. It's going to be a great matchup.
Kawhi's hurt though.
Yeah, but does Luka gets it done?
I don't know. I believe
is Luka enough?
I think so. The Clippers have been a weird team all year. They're not consistent.
Horrible uniforms. I don't like any of their alternate jerseys.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. I like them.
Really?
Yeah, I'm a fan of them. But anyway, I think that I think they've been a weird team. They have all the talent. They have veteran talent. You know, Luka is a force, and Kyrie is playing well too. I like the Mavs, and I actually their midseason additions like PJ Washington, very helpful to that to like the structure of that team. They have size, they have Luka, and I'd bet the Mavs there.
And so you mentioned PJ Washington. You know, every team in the NBA, I'm not following NBA so tight, but I do watch, and I do really tune in during playoffs, and I noticed, especially like when the Heat were doing those runs with LeBron. Granted, you had LeBron, Wade, right? You don't need much more, but you always in the NBA need an X factor. And like Udonis was their X factor. Udonis putting up those 8-10 points and just that presence. So that's kind of like a PJ Washington, just that X factor.
Like that. There's someone always in all these matchups, someone emerges that becomes like a problem. Even with the Heat last year, like nobody knew who Gabe Vincent or Caleb Martin was.
It's true.
Caleb Martin had these games where I think he scored like 30 points.
Yeah.
You know, out of nowhere.
Right.
Someone always steps up in the playoffs. The rotations get tighter. A lot of these guys that are maybe back-end rotation guys only playing like 15 to 20 minutes a game, all of a sudden getting a little bit more time, who are like brought into the fold. They find a defensive matchup that works. Playoffs are really fun because, you know, we were talking about it a couple podcasts ago that like the NBA season at the end, it's almost impossible to bet on. You got people tanking, you got people resting. But then you see them really come on for the playoffs, leave it all out there. You see great basketball again. I'm really excited for tonight.
That's awesome. Now, so we'll keep it basketball related. You kind of alluded to this earlier. Team USA was officially announced for the Paris Olympics. You have Steph Curry, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Jason Tatum, Joel Embiid, Anthony Davis, Devin Booker, Tyrese Halliburton, Anthony Edwards, Bam Adebayo, and Drew Holiday.
Yeah, so I'm pissed, okay? First of all, a couple things on that list.
Tell us how you really feel. You're getting really...
Well, look, Joel Embiid, is he even American? I don't even think he's American. He should be playing for, like, Cameroon or like France.
Right.
And he said that he's playing because his son was born in America. Oh, great. Let some Americans have this. And interesting statistic, my man Jalen Brunson, aka Captain America, as many are saying, Captain America, that are calling,
brother.
Many are saying that. Who is the highest scoring American player this year in the NBA? Jalen Brunson.
I mean,
because Luka is not.
Luka is not. Now,
but he should be on the team.
It brings a good point though, because you know, Brunson, like how I get excited for the Knicks winning, the excitement that happens outside the Garden. We've all seen the viral videos, the bing bong, the screaming. That we need that as a country, especially now. We need those fans. Those Knicks fans having him in the lineup would just bring that crazy energy that they get a win. One game in a playoff series, and it's like they just won the championship outside the Garden.
Well, it's like Brunson embodies what New York thinks it is. I've lived in New York. I don't think it embodies it. But like, you know, New Yorkers like to think we're tough and hard-nosed and all that. And Brunson is, look, he says he's 6'2". He's not 6'2". He's probably 6 feet tall.
Right.
He's not someone who can really, he can barely dunk. You know, he maybe had one dunk all year. He's not overly athletic. He beats you with smarts. He beats you with toughness. He gets smacked down. He doesn't get the calls that these other like superstars get. I see a lot of people, first of all, in my view, he's the MVP. And he's the MVP because this Knicks team was so battered and injured without Randall and OG, and they traded away all these players for OG. He doesn't play after winning a couple games with the team. And you got Brunson carrying this team on his back to 50 wins. In my view, he was the most valuable player this year. And he deserves all the accolades. He's my favorite Knick. since I can remember, like maybe Patrick Ewing. So
you're saying he gets beat down and he's hard nosed? Is he like an Allen Iverson?
No, Allen Iverson was like a supreme scoring talent. Jalen Brunson gets 30 points a game just on like pure grit and toughness.
Allen Iverson was tough.
Allen Iverson was tough, but that man could he also would shoot 50 times a game. Jalen Brunson is incredibly efficient. He shot over 40% from three this year. He's an efficient player. He gets assists. He runs the offense. Allen Iverson was like the point guard because of his size, but you always needed like an Eric Snow, to give like a call back of like someone who could set the offense, because this guy was just a volume shooter. Jalen Brunson plays the game that like every middle school coach is trying to tell his kids how to play. So, I'm excited about Jalen Brunson and the fact we have him, and on what a deal.
No, it's exciting.
Hopefully they extend him, and hopefully the Knicks make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. I would view that as a win this year if we made it there. If we somehow beat the Celtics, or the Celtics got bounced out and we were playing,
and they
could happen, maybe by Philadelphia.
So you should really be pulling, besides the being able to drive to the games, you would want Heat, Knicks,
Celtics,
Sixers,
Celtics, and the Sixers to win.
Yeah,
definitely.
So speaking on Allen Iverson, there was a little bit of new Allen Iverson news. The 76ers gave him a statue. When I first heard the news that Allen Iverson was going to get a statue, I thought, well-deserved, and it should be outside the stadium. It is not.
Where is it?
It's outside the practice facility, which is a little ironic.
Practice.
Right, exactly.
We're talking about practice.
So it's I thought it was like at first a little slap in the face. Here's the video. I'll show you, and our viewers will be able to see it. And
oh wow,
he's like kind of looking at it, and he's small in the thing.
He doesn't seem too happy with the statue.
He doesn't. He gives it a kiss. It's whatever. But that said, there's a lot of like memes and stuff out there about Allen Iverson, the size of it and everything like that. If you do though look at the Sixers practice facility, there's a row of just smaller statues. So it's not like a slap in the face.
But it's not like Bill Russell statue outside of TD Garden.
No, it's not like one of those big ones.
It's not as big as the Jalen Brunson statue is going to be outside of Madison Square Garden.
It's probably up to the shin of the Nick Foles statue of the Philly that we
Is
have.
there a Nick Foles statue?
Yes, we did not with Doug Peterson.
That's great.
Bud Light actually bought it for them.
Oh, okay.
Because of the whole like Philly. Yeah. They are doing the the dilly, and we did the Philly. So they got us a statue. But yeah, it's not like one of those major statues or anything like that. But it is interesting, and I find it ironic that it is outside the practice facility when probably one of his most famous quotes is talking about practice.
Yeah. That's not something he enjoyed.
Not at all.
We're talking about practice.
Yeah.
We had a game. You're talking about practice.
So that is the NBA. We are, getting geared up. I'm excited. I know you're excited. We can talk a little bit NHL, there's a little bit of positioning that still needs to get sorted out, to be determined. Maybe next episode we'll dabble a little bit more.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it when we know
who's playing who, because it is electric. If you don't watch hockey, watch a little playoff hockey. I guarantee you'll become a hockey fan.
And I will be at as many Panther playoff games as they play.
Yes. And he has great seats. So you'll maybe even see him on TV. Who knows?
Yeah.
But don't get hit by a puck.
Oh, I've been on the lookout since my neighbor got like literally crushed.
But that said, I'm super stoked for NBA. Anything else you want to?
No, I think let's see what happens tonight, and then get back and talk about how right we were about what happened.
Awesome. Well, it's a pleasure. Be sure to like, share this, subscribe. I'm David.
I'm Dan.
This is Dan. Yeah. And it's a pleasure. See you guys.
See you.